In this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast, we are going to continue with our topic, procrastination. Why it happens, what you can do about it, and we won't push it off till next week this time.
Why so serious?
We'll be right there.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What's going on, people? It's David Wright. We are here with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast. We are, for those of you watching on Facebook, we're live in the Podcast Detroit Northville studios.
Thank you.
For those of you listening to the podcast, it's recorded, but thank you for checking in on that as well. I appreciate it.
No matter what platform you listen to, whether it be your SoundCloud, your Google Plays, your iTunes, your Stitchers, you know what? Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. And wherever you're listening, thanks for tuning in and finding us. I do appreciate that. That is fantastic. So as I said, we are live here on Facebook, and we are going to continue today with procrastination. We started last time, kind of ran out of time, but there's still a lot of good information to share on that. But before we do that, let me tell you where you can find me.
Please.
My website, motorcityhypnotist.com. You can find my podcast page there, my store. You can look up and find videos for past shows. Unfortunately, because of COVID, my show schedule for this year has just been gone, which is a bummer. But there are a bunch of shows on there. You can look back, find the one that maybe you participated in, and relive that with your family. That would be fun. You can find me on social media, Facebook and YouTube at Motor City Hypnotist, Twitter and Instagram, Motor City Hypno. And I also have an account on Patreon, which is a creator site where listeners can donate monthly payments and help out the show to bring you good content and also get cool stuff like this coffee mug, which at the moment is not holding coffee.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's holding
put
something
that
up.
back up there,
Put this
Dave.
back
I
up
want
there.
to see what that
Does that
looks
look
like. There it is. Yeah, that's a pretty cup.
Yeah, and if it's a little bit different on the back
Oh, spooky.
without spilling drinks all over my my computer. And this is an important drink.
Yes. You know, I think you picked that up for the studio. Cannot thank you enough.
I did.
Yeah, it's been taken advantage of a few times.
Oh, I can tell. For those of you wondering, it's Basil Hayden whiskey.
Yes. Good
Very,
stuff.
very good. Very good stuff.
Yum.
And as Matt recommended, if the rye is also, I like the rye better. This is good.
Yes.
But I like the rye better.
Their
than
dark rye?
Dark
Oh,
rye,
boy.
yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, good stuff. And on an offshoot of that, listen to Man Cave Happy Hour.
You know, the Man Cave Happy Hour, whiskey, cigar, spirits, the stories that go along with it.
Yeah.
Jamie Flanagan and I, we actually go around to different cigar lounges. We actually interview distilleries. We interviewed a distillery out of Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv, wow.
Yeah, it's the first whiskey distillery in Tel Aviv.
Wow.
And it's called Milk and Honey. Really great guys. And they actually, it's a little bit warmer climate there.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
The barrels, they mature a little bit quicker than they would, would you say, in Tennessee or Kentucky
Right.
or Michigan for that matter. So, but just really interesting stories out there when it comes to the whiskeys and bourbons.
That's fantastic. Yeah, check that out.
And the vodkas and the tequilas and
cigars.
And cigars. They're everyone's welcome.
Yeah, Man Cave Happy Hour. Check that one out.
It's fun.
And that's Matt's on the co-host of that podcast. So I'll plug him since you help me out every week. That's awesome.
You know what? Thank you.
Absolutely. So Patreon is where you can find me if you want to help out with the show. As usual, every episode I'm giving stuff away. So you can get a free hypnosis guide today. You can get a MP3 hypnosis recording for confidence. And I'm also going to leave a link for my private Facebook group, Empower Your Mind for Success. I know I mentioned last podcast working on a couple of things. One of them is actually an online course that's called Empower Your Mind for Success. And again, it's focused on changing thinking patterns that will help you be more successful. I'm going to just spend a minute on this because it's not out yet, but I want to kind of tease this because it's going to be coming at some point.
Fair.
Most of the time when people try to do whatever, open their own business, try an online business, sell something or make something, many times I don't want to call it failure, but many times it doesn't work how they expected.
Mm-hmm.
It could be based on skill, but I will say most of the time, in my experience, 30 years as a therapist, most of the time it's your thinking that's at fault.
Right.
Because a lot of people have become very successful that were not very talented, that were not very smart, or didn't have, 5 PhDs.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Keanu, whoa. I love the guy. I really do.
That's not how it works.
I really like the guy.
Oh
but-
no, I
whoa.
love Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
But plus he's just a chill dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, he is. So check that out. That's my Facebook group. It's a private group, but if you put your request in, I'll leave the link in the show notes for that as well. You can join our group, and we talk about things that will empower your mind for success. Mm-hmm. And that will be ongoing because, again, that's going to link to my course when that's released some point in the near future.
Expect something from me.
And I'm not procrastinating on that, just so you know, because our show is about procrastination.
Yep.
It's a piece of crap. It doesn't work.
It's not even made yet. So it's time for our winner of the week.
That's how winning is done.
All right. Our winner of the week comes from Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. So we're hitting a lot of different areas. We're in Utah for our last winner. We're in Mexico for this winter.
They have really great tortillas, I hear.
You know what else they probably have?
What's that?
Well, so long as we've got some time to kill, I think I'll have a beer.
We don't have no beer,
Oh.
just tequila.
What's tequila?
Yeah, it's like beer.
Is it fattening?
Fattening?
Forget it. If it's like beer, we'll have some. 3 tequilas.
Sure, amigo. Enjoy yourselves.
Yep, here we go.
But try not to get into too much troubles, okay?
Yeah. So yeah, they have tequila also as well as tortillas.
Yep.
So we're in Mexico, Yucatan Peninsula. A guy called Ricardo Pimento opened his home to 300 dogs.
Amazing.
And once you hear why, too.
Okay.
There are plenty of other critters, too. Dozens of cats harbored in his son's room. His daughter's room served as a refuge for chicks, bunnies, and even a hedgehog. And his patio became a haven for a flock of sheep.
Wow.
Not surprisingly, the house smelled terrible, he says, but it was worth it. He sheltered them to protect them from Hurricane Delta.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say, that sounds like more fun than a barrel of monkeys. Have you ever smelled a barrel of monkeys, though? That's amazing that he did that.
Yeah.
It's quite pungent.
Yeah, right?
Stings the nostrils.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does sting the nostrils. So he took all of these animals in when Hurricane Delta hit because they had nowhere to go. He warned of the hurricane's devastating power, concerned that the stores might remain shut after the storm. He asked for donations to help care for all these animals,
Sure.
which he got. A subsequent online post included photos of what looked like carpet in his hallway, revealed that the carpet was with all of these dogs lying together.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, in his house. The post was shared widely on social media and grabbed headlines across the country.
I was going to ask, did he build an ark, too? Is that
It was just an art for dogs.
All right.
Dogs are going to rule the world.
There's plenty of species of dogs, 2 by 2 for the puppies.
Yep, when the apocalypse comes.
Right.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Oh, great Odin's raven.
So yeah, Pimento. Honestly, there's a whole article, but I'll leave the link to this article in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
Really, he just took in these animals to protect them from this deadly hurricane.
That's amazing.
And all survived
Yep.
because he took them in.
As an animal lover, I would love to talk to him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Just what went through your brain as you're sitting around with 300 dogs and cats and sheep and, what's going through your mind besides the smell?
Right. And I just had I almost had an epiphany for a moment here.
Oh,
right?
Great Odin's Raven.
What if we get in contact with some of these winners of the week?
Well, I would absolutely love to talk to these people because they're
this just popped into my head.
They're so inspiring.
Mm-hmm. No, okay. We're gonna look into that.
Yeah,
and I will not procrastinate, which is the subject.
If you heard the last show, we're gonna have to call a
right. Yes, we're gonna have to.
We'll accept a collect call from.
So that is. Let me get his name again. I put the sheet down. Wrong one. Where did I do with it?
It's not in front of you?
Pimento.
Thank you, sir.
Pimento.
Yeah.
You are our winner of the week.
That's how winning is done.
Yes, it is.
That's great.
You know what else is winning, Matt?
What's that?
Getting a haircut.
You look awfully svelte this evening.
Today, I have to tell you, folks, I went today to get my haircut for the first time since March.
I wasn't going to say anything because it looked good on you.
Right.
But you look at yourself, you're like, wow, I'm using way too much hair product.
Well, honestly,
going through lots of shampoo.
It's really weird. The thing that bothered me the most was just sleeping, because when you have hair down the back of your neck and you get hot,
yes.
It's like having fur on.
Getting your ears lowered, it looks great, man.
Yeah. So I finally, and I'm not opposed. Believe me, I'm not against long hair. I was in a big hippie stage in my mid-20s.
Mid-20s. That was like what, 10 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, I wish.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, not near that.
Trying to give you a compliment is what I'm trying to do.
No, I know you are. I appreciate that, Matt. For those of you, hopefully a lot of people listening knew me back then, my wife and a lot of friends, but I used to have hair down just probably past my shoulders.
Really?
Yeah.
Put it in a ponytail?
I did put it in a ponytail.
A little bun?
I did an earring. Yeah, I got a tattoo during that time. It was kind of my...
you still have the tattoo?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Don't tell me where it's at. But...
Oh, no, it's on my arm.
Oh, okay.
It's non-invasive.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So that was I don't know how we got off on long hair, but I said I had a haircut.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make a segue, which didn't move very well, into like procrastination. So I hadn't had a haircut since March. And it wasn't that I was procrastinating necessarily, but we do have a pandemic going on, and it had to be done, at the right time. And plus, I just wanted to grow it out a little bit.
Right. So my sister-in-law was cutting my hair for a few months, and I tried cutting my own. Yeah, I'll never do that again.
I actually trimmed a little bit when I needed to, especially around my ears. But
sure. Yeah, never again, right?
I'm sure it was just, I'm sure it was bad. So we're talking about, folks, procrastination. We started last episode. We're back into that. And what we looked at last time are ways that motivation doesn't work, like goal-based motivation or extrinsic motivation. And we talked about chasing the carrot and how that doesn't work. We talked about goal-based motivation, that there's this, what we call hedonic adaptation, that causes people to get accustomed to accomplishing goals. And it doesn't carry that same reward. So what we ended on last time is that the best way is intrinsic motivation, and that is motivation based on the concept of having a personal vision. So unlike chasing goals, a personal vision is about an expression of something lasting. So something that will make you feel more whole or make you feel more connected spiritually, whatever that is for you.
Sure.
Something that makes that connection inside. So we talked a little bit about what procrastination, kind of what it is up front. Let me tell you what it's not, because a lot of people make these assumptions, especially with procrastinators, that they're lazy. That's probably an easy assumption to make, that people procrastinate because they're lazy. And if you look at it, procrastinators often put off doing things. They wait till the last moment. But it's not a synonym for lazy. Lazy people, simply put, they just don't do anything, and they're okay with it.
Right.
Procrastinators, on the other hand, have the desire to do something. They just can't force themselves to do it. So put it this way. Procrastinators care about what has to be done, Lazy people don't. So, for an example, somebody who's in school and they're lazy, they wouldn't stay up all night for their exam. They would just skip it because they don't care about it.
Right.
The procrastinator spends 12 hours studying all night because they have some investment in it.
Right. You can either be Floyd from True Romance, or you could be just someone that, puts it off until the last minute and gets it done.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Dude,
absolutely.
There's a phone call for it.
So yeah, so they're not. It's not laziness, because again, procrastinators they care about what they're doing. Another thing is that people tend to look at when people relax or just take it easy that they're being lazy or procrastinating.
F that.
Sorry.
What the fuck are you doing?
No, right. So don't confuse procrastination with relaxation, because people have to relax to recharge. You have to do things that are fun to be able to nurture yourself and help yourself be happy. And it gives you energy. It recharges you because you're relaxing and doing something fun that you enjoy. In contrast, procrastination drains energy from you. Procrastination just makes you more stressed out and makes you more apt to put out things. So the opposite of procrastination is actually getting things done and being able to relax, deal with your workload well, and be happy in the long term.
I always kind of lend, work-life balance.
Balance is a great term, Matt. I use that a lot.
You have to have, there's got to be a middle road where you're working and then you have your home life. But right in the middle is where you need to put yourself first and really relax and just do what you want to do in your own head. Whether it be working on a project that you enjoy or having doing a podcast, for goodness sakes, right?
Yeah.
That's where I draw that line, is in that middle of work-life balance. That's where you put yourself first.
Absolutely. And I say this, I stress this constantly with clients. You have to take care of yourself. If you're constantly doing everything for others or focusing outside, you're going to run out of gas. You're going to run out of whatever you have to give, and you're not taking care of yourself.
Sure.
So relaxation is a good thing, as long as you know when to do it and when it's going to be most beneficial for you.
When it's appropriate.
Now, here's another myth that people bring out, especially people who procrastinate. And here's what the myth is. And you can probably guess what it would be. I work better under pressure.
You might look like you work harder.
Well, that's the excuse people often love to say. They justify their procrastination saying, I work better under pressure. Now, I'm of course, I'm going to refute that, because studies show the opposite is true. Putting things off until the very last moment creates a fertile ground for stress, guilt, and ineffectiveness.
Game.
Yep.
Absolute game.
And the old saying, don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today. It is cliche, but that is accurate.
If you're a project manager or you are in charge of a group of people and you're that person that waits until the last minute to do something, you're affecting them at the same damn time.
It affects everyone around you.
Yeah.
Because when you procrastinate, think if you have a family or you're at work, you have coworkers and people that you're depending on. You're part of a group wherever you're at, unless you're just a hermit and you live alone.
Right.
All right, Dan.
Yeah. You got to prioritize. You really do. Yeah.
So you're saying that you work better under pressure is like, it's not going to help you, and it adversely affects everyone around you as well. So the question is, we've talked about procrastination last episode on this one. We've kind of looked at what it is, what it's not, maybe why it happens. So the big question is, how do you stop? How do you stop procrastinating?
You set goals.
That's part of it.
Mini goals.
Yep.
Small goals.
I think I'll
you can
I was going to talk about this, but I might just wait till next time. I'm just kidding.
No, elaborate for me. What are some of the things to stop procrastinating?
So,
I've got things that I've procrastinated on. I'm not going to lie.
Here's the thing. You can learn as much as you want about like self-discipline and motivation and and planning and you can watch Tony Robbins and get fired up, and you could do all of these things. But until you make it a daily routine, those things are just temporary. And I kind of liken this, and I'm not just like, as a disclaimer, I'm not bashing spirituality or religion, but think about how preachers they can evoke an emotional response, or motivational speakers, they evoke that emotional response.
Sure.
And I love Tony Robbins. This is not a knock on him at all, because I read all of his stuff. I've watched a lot of his stuff.
There's some inspiring stuff that Tony
But
Robbins
the system
does.
is, and it's not wrong, because people can use it if they use it the right way. But if you have ever been to one of his conferences, he gets everybody just totally fired up, and he gets them active and physical, and their blood is rushing, and all these endorphins are going.
Gets them thinking,
and your mind is just on fire, and you leave buying everything he has because you want this to continue, and then you get home, and a week later,
right,
all that crap's in a drawer somewhere, and you're back to your routine.
Oh, this DVD is now a coaster.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Or the book is like, I never even opened this book, and it's been on my shelf for 10 years.
Right.
I mean, knock on wood, I have a couple of those. So, but the whole point is, you can't wait for your emotion to drive you to do it, because your emotion comes and goes. So, long story short, self-discipline, motivation, we can talk about these things unless you have it, unless you make it a part of your daily routine, your habits. And we've taught that this is the whole, folks, I've said this a million times on the show, change your thinking, change your life. Your thinking patterns have to change. Your habits, your daily routine has to change in how you think. Because if you don't do it that way, it's not going to last.
Right.
So, and I go back to tools. You can use tools like books and Tony Robbins' meetings and seminars and things like that. That's great if you're using these tools, but it's up to you to actually put them into action.
I'd almost, talk to someone who is, somewhat successful. Friends, family. Sit down with them and kind of pick their brain. What did they do to be able to do the things that they did to get it done? And then, kind of mold it into your own almost.
And I go back to what I said last episode, I believe it was, that successful people aren't always the smartest or the most educated.
Sure.
Or the most talented. They're just people who didn't give up.
Right.
They're people who committed to a routine, who had a belief in their mind.
And they love what they do.
Yes, and they're passionate about what they do. And that's the other big thing.
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Yeah.
Love your drafts, man.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I need to. There are a couple more I was looking for that I want to kind of intersperse in here, but
fair enough.
I'll work on those.
Yeah.
So okay. So what tools can you use to stop procrastinating, to change that mindset, to change your way of thinking? Number one is a personal vision. This sounds ridiculous, and it sounds like it's just a lot of spiritual hooey. But the whole thing is to understand really what your vision is, and creating one. Like what motivates you every day? What helps you maintain discipline or schedule? What is it that drives you on the inside? Is it money? And it's okay if it is, if that's your driving factor.
Sure.
Is it recognition? Is it survival? Because that could be for many people.
I'll throw it out there. Is it sex?
Yeah.
It could be
something
anything
that drives you. It could be, but whatever drives you, but make it be that thing that's your personal. This becomes your personal vision of what it is that drives you each and every day to do what you do.
Sure.
And to improve yourself as a human being. The second thing, and that personal vision, what I like listeners to do is actually write it out, have it, look at it, refer to it. That's your vision. That's the whole core of what you're using to work on eliminating procrastination. The second one is to do today. Now, this is a big one, and I'm going to tell you guys, and I'll give you the link when we're in here, but a lot of this information I pulled from the book, The End of Procrastination, How to Stop Postponing and Live a Fulfilled Life.
By?
It is. So I have the link, but I don't have the author.
Fair enough.
But
All
I will.
right.
It will be in the show notes.
Fair enough.
So this one I pulled from this book. So long to-do lists tend to pile up. If you've ever had, like, let's say that you have a to-do list and you put down 20 things, you get 8 of those things done.
Or someone puts the list for you.
Or
Hi,
someone makes a list for you.
married guy.
No! No! Don't shut me up!
Yeah, the list. So if you have a list of 20 things and you get 8 done, and then you go a couple days and you add 10 things to that list and you get 4 done, this list is never ending.
Nope.
It's a rotating door. It'll never get done. So long to-do lists tend to pile up, and it leads to procrastination because now we feel overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. Now we feel like there's too much. I don't want to do it anymore. And that's when you retreat, and that's when you just put it off until you have to do it.
May I share something real quick?
Absolutely.
So I have been told a few times to get stamps. I need stamps for this, that, or the next
Right.
thing. And today, I'm not kidding, today I opened up my dresser drawer, and in my dresser drawer, in my desk, were a book of stamps. I'm like, it's off my list. I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And then I go into the back of my checkbook. I had stamps in there, too.
Oh.
I didn't have to go get stamps. I already had them on me,
That's
but
awesome.
completely forgot that they were even there. So I just, by chance, removed something from my list.
Yeah, just randomly.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
when that happens, that's that endorphin that goes off in your brain that goes, yay.
It's like, yes, I didn't have to do anything, and it's off my list.
I planned ahead. See?
So that's a good thing. So Matt's to do today was get stamps.
Mm-hmm.
So the to do today method is you get the most important and urgent tasks done every day, while helping you to prioritize your schedule and limit new tasks. So think of it like this. What is the most important thing you have to get done today? That is your to-do list. If it's something, now this sounds a little counterintuitive, but if it's, for example, let's say, oh, well, I have to get wrapping paper because Christmas is coming up.
Yeah, right.
That's not a to-do today list.
It's not on sale, so don't worry.
Right. I mean, you could do it if you have. If it's. I wouldn't go out of your way to do that because that's not a pressing need right now. Mm-hmm. And honestly, if you're looking at just making things up that you have to do, your list would be 1 billion items long because life is a to-do list. There's always things to do. So the to-do today list is the biggest thing, and it's focusing on the most urgent and pressing task, an urgent task that you have to do today. Mm-hmm. The other one, 3, is a habit list. Now, habits is one of it's the most basic element of personal development. You have good habits and you have bad habits. Those drive who you are. Mm. And as we've said on the show so many times, if you change that thinking and if you learn new habits, they just become natural. They become inbuilt. You don't have to try to do it. It just happens. Yeah. The habit list is based on scientific research, and it's about proper planning, learning habits, and then tracking it. And that's motivating because once you learn it and once it's in there, once it becomes a habit, you don't have to try. It just happens. And now you feel good because I keep going back to the working out thing, which might be something subliminal in my head, as Freud would say.
I'll take you to the gym, my friend.
But if somebody who's been working out and been doing it for years, they feel like this is great. My life is so much better because of this.
Sure.
And it motivates them to continue to do it. Mm-hmm. So once that habit is locked in, you're just going to feel better. Now, this one sounds a little bit crazy, a little bit kooky, but meeting with yourself. It's called Meeting with Myself. Set aside a time just for you, just to sit down with yourself and actually look at goals, what you've achieved, what you want to achieve, how that plays into where your long-term goals and your short-term goals
and
are.
this shouldn't infringe on that balance, on that middle part where you're focusing on yourself and relaxation. This should be
This is like a meeting, and that's why we call it a meeting with yourself.
Got it.
This is not relaxation time. This is meeting time where, like any other meeting, if you went to a meeting, you go, you talk, you get things done, you end the meeting.
Right.
This should be the same way. In fact, start a timer. Make the meeting a 15-minute meeting. Mm-hmm. Start your timer on your phone. I'm not saying you have to talk to yourself out loud,
Just don't start answering.
Listening to you no more.
Don't start answering your own questions. That's where you get in trouble.
No! Don't shut me up!
I mean, you could say that to yourself.
Yeah.
But it's meeting with yourself and focus on long-term planning and like an overall review of what you're doing and where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And those are just a few of them. So the book, The End of Procrastination, How to Stop Postponing and Live a Fulfilled Life. I'm going to leave a link to that in the show notes because a lot of the information, not all of it, but some of it I pulled from that book. And I really like this one. I recommend this one to clients as well. Our next episode is going to kind of fit right in with this. We're going to talk about scheduling, the power of scheduling.
Ooh.
And it's going to fit right into this procrastination episode because now we're going to take physical, actual steps that are going to help you to start to develop new habits.
I'm sure if I saw your work schedule, I would puke.
Probably.
Probably, right.
You probably would. Yes, you probably would.
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Right.
So, folks, next episode, we're going to talk about the power of scheduling. And again, look at the show notes for all of the things we talked about today, including the book, The End of Procrastination, How to Stop Postponing and Live a Fulfilled Life. In the meantime, change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. I will see you next time.